Hi, back with you on the Bronx Buzz. We thank David Brand for his very informed work, which helps enlighten us all. We're going to enlighten us in a different way. One of the most wonderful places in the Bronx, all the way out there on City Island. You used to know it as the Starving Artist Cafe, but it is now The Artist. And The Artist is my longtime buddy, Elliot Glick. Nice to have you with us, Elliot.
Hi.
Elliot, you were just telling me, let's really recount how old we are, that more than 2 decades ago, your first interview with me was about this location on City Island Avenue, and it was a jewelry shop. I wish I could remember
Art
that far back.
gallery jewelry shop. I made one of a kind jewelry pieces. My original trade was jeweler on 47,
Wow.
and I opened my own shop. And everybody told me your walls look naked, because jewelry is very small. So they all brought in their paintings.
Right, right. And of course, City Island is one of the most important artist communities in our borough. But so now we're 26 years on City Island, but you're undergoing a transformation. It has been, and you were just saying it's been nominated as one of the best music halls in the Bronx.
Yes.
So let's talk about what it has been as a music hall, and then how we're converting it to a performance space for theater.
Well, we built a stage here. We moved the kitchen to the back and built the stage where the kitchen used to be.
Hmm.
And I looked at it and I said, "This is a black box theater. This is, exactly what I secretly wanted." And
Wait, just consciously, secretly wanted, or all of a sudden it was a revelation and you were like, "You know what? That's what I secretly wanted."
well, it was both. But
Okay.
I was writing a play, and then I thought, "Wow, I'll put it on here." And I haven't done that yet, but I did cast it now. So, uh, but we've had quite a few theater performances here already, and both of them were one woman shows, and they have done it multiple times here at,
Mhm.
at
So
different places.
I've got the list of them. Let's see, Once a Boy was one of them, right?
Yes, yeah,
And then the other was Runaway Princess. I
yes,
have the A Hopeful Tale of Heroin, Hooking, and Happiness, which
yes.
is an interesting perspective.
That's last night.
Oh, it
Yeah,
was last night? Okay,
yeah,
and Velvet Determination, which is another which is coming up on June 10th and 11th, apparently.
yes. A repeat performance by Papa
Mhm.
Man.
How does it play? Are you bad pun there. How does it play? Are you satisfied with the way it looks in the house, and, are
Yes,
people receptive to it?
I'm, I'm, I'm thrilled and delighted,
Really? Now,
and
and why is that?
not usually both.
Usually
But
thrilled and not quite delighted, okay.
yeah, but I was because I have stage lighting. I don't want to turn the camera around because I'll never get it quite right again.
Alright.
I put up stage lighting, and not
Wow.
just for the music shows, but it works great for the theater productions. And I have a mixing board for the lights and for the sound.
Wow.
And
And Elliot, it's amazing how one thing you do informs the next.
yeah,
So, I'm sure all you learned all these years about putting on shows, and I don't even want to count how many performers you've had and funky everybody get up and play nights and all the things that you've done. And now you have a different view of the same space. I think it's a beautiful process, frankly.
it's a journey. You know,
Okay.
it's a journey. You go into business, and it's not a job; it's a life. And in that way, and
Mhm.
you grow with it. So I mean, I've learned different things like how to do sound, and this past weekend I did the lights, which is a little stressful, but
No, I did get a flyer that said on, Saturday the 27th, you're gonna be playing? Are you doing music? Is that what we're doing?
so I'm going to do music. I'm
And is original music, covers, what are you doing?
mostly original.
Mhm.
And
Uh,
do some covers. I always stick a Dylan song in somewhere, and because he said something about everything in the whole world, you know.
You know, I remember what Bill Graham used to say about the Fillmore East. He said, "It's my candy store, and I can play with a microphone anytime I want." So that's one thing. Now let's just talk about the plays. Now you've written two plays, Superman and Primitive Angel.
Yes.
Do you want to tell us just something? Let's just talk about the creative process that made you say, "Hey, after playing music and being a jewelry maker, I want to be a playwright." Just talk to me a little bit about that.
I had done theater many years ago. Not that first I did Jesus Christ Superstar. I was Jesus twice.
Wait. When you say you did it, you performed in it?
Yeah, in amateur theater, you know, and
I could see you as Jesus Christ.
with I and it ended badly for him, but it was. But yeah, I did it with the CYO up in Monroe, New York,
Okay.
and I fell in love with doing that stuff. And that same director called me up and said, "We're doing it with a youth group in Kingsbridge Heights in the Bronx." And I happened to be living back in the Bronx at that time.
Well, Kingsbridge Heights, like at the Kingsbridge Heights Community Center, something like
Yeah,
that?
near the old police station was.
Yes, of course, of course.
Yeah. And I think it was a former nun that was running the youth center.
Mhm.
And I can't remember her name, and I'm
That's
sorry.
okay.
But it was 1979. You know, it was.
Wow. And so that kind of inspired the notion, and you have been crafting these two productions for
Yeah,
all.
I wrote one when I was in Monroe, and a theater group did put it on. And after the hives went away, you know, from the stress of that, I 30 years later wrote another one. And so Primitive Angel is really kind of about this place and me, you know, having to come to realize that there are all different ways to consider yourself
The artist.
yeah, and successful at it. And
And
where
I'm just going to tell you on a personal note, what I'm going through now with my own work, you have just helped inform that. I appreciate that.
uh, there are ways to look at it, and I didn't see those ways, and I was feeling like, you know, I'm spinning my wheels here. I'm not getting anywhere with my own stuff, and a friend of
So,
mine that actually
yeah.
the musical Brooklyn on Broadway, and I grew up with him, and in fact, he taught me to play guitar back in high
Okay.
school,
Right.
and he said to me, "What are you, crazy? Look at your place. You just built this stage. Why aren't you using it?"
Wow.
And he said, "You have succeeded." He said, "We've all chased the dream." He said, "But it slips away from you, you know?"
And
And
but you know, this goes back to what I said a few moments ago. It's amazing how everything kind of informs. If you're a creative person and your mind is open, everything informs the next step.
yes, that's right.
Yeah.
And I suppose if you look backwards, there's a trail, you know?
Yeah, but you don't want to look at that trail. You
No,
move on
no.
and get to the next step. So here's a very difficult question. What do we need to do to push you to make this thing happen? Because I don't want you to keep talking about it. We want to say that Elliot, you know, I want to be there opening night, and Elliot's play, one of those two plays is we're going to see.
I cast it. I have to square it with DC Comics.
Oh,
And,
Superman. Yeah, they probably own that.
yeah.
Yeah.
and and they weren't that nice to the two guys that originally wrote it, you know,
No.
back. So
So that's number one.
yeah,
Uh,
I have to square it with them, and I'm not. I mean, I'm not even thinking about money. I'm thinking about art, you know, and
yes.
doing it.
Well, that's why you were the starving artist.
Yes.
I'm sorry, and I say that with tremendous affection.
I
What's that?
changed
What's that?
hoping it would change my luck.
Uh, Well, what I was going to tell you beforehand, I said I was going to say it on the show. I never liked the idea of starving artists because, on one hand, it was true because a lot of the performers, they're not making a lot of money. On the other hand, we want to raise it up, and so now we're called The Artist
Yes.
on City Island,
And
and
behold, we have raised it up.
and so now let's see. I got a whole. There's all kinds of performances coming up aside from you on the 27th. What else is coming up that you want to boast about at The Artist?
This Friday is open mic. So
Okay, let's be clear. We're recording it Monday. The program will air Thursday, so it actually would be tomorrow is open mic.
okay.
Because
Right.
it's going to air Thursday evening at 6 o'clock. So that's tomorrow is open mic, and then who performs on open mic? Everybody.
Everybody. You, everybody.
Do you draw audience only from City Island? Do you get people who come from other places? And then
No,
the same thing on open mic nights. Do you get people exclusively from City Island or people from the Bronx? I mean, I'm just curious about
we
what the
get
draw
people from
is.
all over. I've had people come here from Brooklyn,
Really?
wherever
Well,
that is. And
yeah, because they know what's good and where it's good, and they want a nice dinner as well.
yeah, everybody is looking to have an audience, and we're a listening room, and that's a plus.
Listening room and also a place for people to get to. It's just a very, very comfortable place. Let's also talk about where you are. So, City Island, it's like one way this way and one way this way for people
Yeah,
visiting. I guess about halfway down the island, a little past the
I'm about
middle.
a mile in. The island's a mile and a half. I'm about a mile in.
Okay,
A block past a little park in the middle, Hawkins Park,
right.
and I'm in the between Carroll and Schofield Street.
Just keep driving. Look to the right after you. I mean, I could tell you exactly where it is,
I have a
but
brand
you'll
new awning, and it says the artist on the top.
The Artist. Now you've already changed the ordering.
Yes.
And listen, get out there on City Island, have yourself a bite to eat, stop and see my friend Ron Turner before you go in and hang out with Elliot. I mean, we're all working together, and that's how we're gonna do it, right?
He encouraged me to open all those years ago.
Really?
Yes.
Well, listen, you needed a little kick in the pants and you got it, and that's okay. Listen, Elliot, it's just a thrill to always talk to you and have you. And it's really a thrill to really talk about a new look at The Artist and new art in the Bronx, new performance in the Bronx. I tell people all the time, we invented everything. So come here and share it because, it's all about the roots. And that's what we're about.
I tell you the truth why I changed the name.
Go ahead. That's going to be the last thing. Do it quick. We got
I
to
got
run
tired. I got tired of all the jokes. I put on a couple of pounds, and
it. All right. Well, you have been, and you always will be The Artist. And now your place of business reflects that. And we love what you do and keep doing it. And I'm sure I don't have to tell you that because that's what you're going to do. So we'll see you around town. Thank you so much. It is Elliot Glick at The Artist. And that will do it for the Bronx Buzz. We've had a really fun show, an interesting show. First segment, we took care of business. And the second segment, we took care of different kind of business. And you know what I always say, and it's true. We'll see you next week. Good night.